The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This video from me will serve as a full review in that I'm going to talk about the Hunger Games trilogy as well as the movie, and I'll encompasses my thoughts. Now, I hadn't made the videos yet on purpose, and that was because everybody would know that I have this weird hypocritical disdain for popular culture. In that the people that know me will find it ironic that I despise it, yet I participate in it. My wife and I very much have a thing about seeing movies on their opening weekend, and the Hunger Games movie was no exception. At the time of the Hunger Games movie's release, I was three-quarters of the way through Miss Collins' book, which I found to be a very excellent read. And I was talking with a very close friend at the time, and he's like, "Dude, you're a grown ass man. What are you doing reading a book written for teenage girls?" Well, I will answer that and say that it's extremely well written, and it is written in a first person narrative, which to me, I mean, you guys may not think that's interesting, but to me, that's a very interesting thing. What a first person narrative is, it is written from a singular perspective of the character in the book. In this case, Katniss Everdeen. So everything that you see in these books is something seen through a fallible human's eyes, okay? She's not omniscient, and she is stuck with her circumstances and her thoughts thereof. So I was three-quarters of the way through this book, and oh, sorry about my shirt. Um, I was three-quarters of the way through this book when we saw the movie. Now, my wife, I don't think she liked the movie as much as I did. She's still resisting about reading them. But when I saw the movie, I didn't feel that the movie took away anything or spoiled anything about the book. As a matter of fact, I found it to be intriguing that the movie was a third person perspective on what, up to that moment, I had only had a first person perspective of. So you kind of see what's going on with the game makers and everything else. So as a result, the movie doesn't take away anything from the book. Now, does it contribute that much? Um, it falls short like any movie will, in that a movie and a motion picture is limited to what can be produced and visually demonstrated versus what can be produced and mentally created from yourself. So the book is going to be far superior because when you're in the movie, it's laid out for you. When you're reading the book, you're left to make several assumptions, and those assumptions can be fanciful, and that brings us to the enjoyment of a fiction novel. The other thing about the movie is that the movie somewhat rolls over and merges with the second book in the trilogy, Girl on Fire, because the whole story gets rolling pretty good in the trilogy. And I read through all three, the trilogy itself, within a couple of weeks. It wasn't long at all. So I'm going to be adding those as book challenges 4, 5, and 6. That is the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and the Mockingjay. And I really liked the story, and I thought it was it was a very good story. And there's a lot to be taught in that. And I oddly enough, I identified with the character, and I identified with her perspective. There are several things that Katniss in the book expresses and thinks about that are very, very true, and they have to do with effort and time and privilege and wealth. And those topics can never be explored enough. And and the Hunger Games trilogy does that. It explores the essence of provision. It explores the corruption of power, and it explores the results of socialism. And it also, in the end, without spoiling it, it it exposes the connection with the various forms of socialism, be it be it whether the group enterprise pursues in the efforts of evil or the group enterprise pursues in the efforts of survival and good. Suzanne Collins gives us an example of how they end up in the same place. So the both the trilogy and the movie I highly recommend. I don't have necessarily a scale of how I don't have a scale set up of how highly I recommend it. I read The Hunger Games on the Kindle. Ebook reading it is a level. I don't know if I would go hardcover, and I don't know if I would buy the DVD. But definitely ownership worthy in paperback, and definitely rent worthy when it comes out again. Okay, y'all take care.